Hey everybody, we are back. Shay
Hey guys.
and I are here to talk about Final Fantasy 15 again 1 week later.
1 week later.
And it's a spoiler cast. That is your first warning. Second warning, this is a spoiler cast. Third warning, everybody dies at the end. There, if you didn't turn the thing off, it's your goddamn fault. I literally mean everyone died. Well, mostly. Your party dies. All 4 dudes die.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start where the game falls off a cliff, which is chapter 9. 8 is when you depart the boat, and I think 9 is actually when you get to
Alticia.
And I was so excited. This is like, to recap, we talked about in the first one more of the mechanics and everything, and kind of up to chapter 4 with some story bits light and that kind of thing. And by that point, I think we both agreed that it was a good story of these brothers getting along, and also not confusing. And then once they reach this next break, everything is just like, what the hell is happening? Or not so much, not even just that. It's just, this is so sad, because the entire time you're going to go marry Luna, which you can kind of see, like, are they really going to be able to get together? And I thought they were just going to...
I thought it was going to be really hard. There was going to be a lot of things happening in between. But I did not see what was going to happen. Not at all.
Yeah, I think she was going to die, which we won't strim past that. We'll get into that a little bit more. But I was so excited because the entire time you're going to go marry Luna or whatever.
Yeah.
You get to this big city, I'm like, oh, there's going to be a new region to explore, and like they did a really good job of not showing anything, because, man, these 2 first areas are just gigantic.
Yeah, they are.
And little do we know that there's nothing...
They don't let you do crap outside of Alticia.
They do a series of vignettes. Have you been back to Alticia in the past?
Just to do bounties. And that's
okay,
it.
Yeah, I'm like...
Oh, there's an arena there, isn't there?
Oh, it's dumb.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Good.
So, in Alticia, it's a beautiful city. It's basically Venice.
Yep.
It's on the waterfront. Very, very cool. Kind of confusing to get around.
It's a labyrinth. I ended up texting Tristan last night because I was trying to find Luna Freya's dress. Or was it a couple nights ago? Anyway, I was trying to find the dress. I'm like, where the hell is this thing?
Yeah, I just go up the stairs and like, where is this? Okay, after doing the bounties, I kind of got better at locating everything. But you go there, you meet your Noctis's father's like last companion for whatever he did and his little stuff, and that was cool. And then you do this like political treaty thing with the president of this place,
that was weird.
The mayor, which doesn't have anything to do. You make it out so that like, okay, you're gonna not help us with the Empire, you are gonna help us with the Empire, but then they don't come back to that. It's as if the Empire was like this. The entire thing, like, they took over his city, they're chasing him, they want something, and then after, like, this little part,
maybe
they kind of vanish a little bit, and it's really weird.
Maybe it just, Arden decided that he needed to push the Emperor to, I don't know, moving to his endgame, I don't know.
Yeah, well, okay, so first of all, you go here because you're supposed to meet Luna, and then you got to summon Leviathan, and that's what you came there to help with. Yep. So that boss battle is really cool. The Empire shows up to basically they want to kill the what do they call them in this game? Are they Idolions or are they like
summons?
A new?
I don't actually. I just remember those.
They call them this.
The Cosmology
we'll just call them this,
or whatever.
We'll just call them the 6 because that's whatever. So they basically want to slay it because they don't want you to have the power, as far as I know.
Yep.
Or do they want to harness the... I can never... I couldn't figure out if they want to harness the part or just, like, kill them, because they...
Maybe a little of both. I mean, their end game is that they want to kill it, and they end up killing that other summon later on, but... Yeah, I think Leviathan they wanted to capture just to make sure you couldn't succeed with the Covenant, and then kill it.
So that was like an awesome, crazy boss.
That was a crazy
You're fighting
boss
some
fight.
soldier, and then you just get, like, this stuff is happening, and Luna is just like awesome finally because she's such a in the movie I just didn't like her character and she
seemed really bland, really vanilla.
Yeah, in this one you kind of get to see a little taste of her, especially when she's a little kid and they're interacting, and that's also kind of how you see like, all these guys have been together for like a long time. They are in love, even though they really don't show it that much.
Yeah.
But like when Arden, this weird Chancellor guy that you saw from a mile away that he's going to be the Kef guy. He's going to be the bad guy. It's obvious that he's going to be the bad guy, or he's going to be some super secret weapon that's like, actually, I've been like helping your quest along because I am actually your father's brother or something like that, which might be true. It's vague. It's an ancestor, yeah. But, so finally he just comes out of nowhere, and the first vile thing he does, because the entire game he's like, oh, I've come here, I'll let the
follow
go
me in
away.
my car. Oh, I like your friend.
I photobombed.
I photobomb everything.
And he was great. He's very well acted. He's great. He's a really good villain. He's a very partly good villain. But then he comes out of nowhere for this part, and then all of a sudden he switches true colors, and he stabs Luna, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that was like shocked. That was like, I accidentally ruined this for Shay.
Well, because you made a 7 reference, and I was like, oh no.
I did that without even thinking about, like, actually she's more Eris than I actually said. Yeah. But like, Iris is Gladio's sister, and she clearly loves Noctis, and they're so cute together. Like, all the pictures that Prompto gets that I had were just, like, adorable. I'm like, man, this is really heartbreaking that she's not going to be with him or whatever. I said, like, she's like the Tiff, especially because of her, like, her battle skills. Yeah. And I said Luna's kind of like Eris, and that she's the more destined one to be with him. But then she actually she dies, too.
Oh, she definitely is.
And yet she still comes back and, like,
hey, speaking of which, have you randomly had those party members show back up again? I was just randomly fighting some demons, and all of a sudden Ariana jumps in.
In the post-game?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome!
Her airship just lands, and she jumps out, and she just joins you for that fight.
Oh,
it was crazy. I was like, wait a minute. Does this happen with anyone else?
That's cool. We'll get into the post-game after our plot discussion here. Okay, so then she gives you all this power to basically get Leviathan, and then she dies, and it's really sad because they're finally reunited, and it's just like, it sucks, and then he passes out, and then it's like a black screen. It's like several days pass, something like that.
Yeah, and they're freaking riding the train.
They're on a train, and all of a sudden,
Gladio gets a stick up his ass, and he's like, we're not going to Tenebrae. Get over yourself.
We don't have the budget to go to Tenebrae. So they're on this train. Basically, they need to get more swords.
Yeah.
I believe that's what the thing is.
Still going after the power of the ancestors.
The power of the power of the 6, and then also weapons.
Yeah, the 15.
And all of a sudden, like, he lost his in the span of in my game, weeks and weeks and weeks for how many days I camped out. But probably weekish things. He lost his father, and he lost his bride.
Yeah.
And one of his best friends went blind!
Yeah.
Were you like...
Frick.
Did you see him? And we're like, why is he wearing those
When he was in the hotel
dark?
room, I saw that big scar over his one eye, and I was like, oh, shit. Stuff happened when you weren't there.
That was a really good reveal, and I kept on screaming, and I'm just like, is he blind? Did he go blind? What the hell? He went blind. It was crazy. And as cool as that is, it sucked.
For the next dungeon?
There's a lot of gameplay stuff that just kind of sucks from this point on. So you're on this train, and you can walk about and do nothing except collect items, really. And Gladio's all bent out of shape because Noctis is sad, but he's just like, gotta do this thing!
Yeah. Noctis is sad because he lost his dad, and then he loses his bride.
And I think he's probably more upset about Ignis losing his sight, but Ignis is just like, I'm cool, guys.
Yeah, I'm totally fine, guys.
I could fight. Oh, whoa!
Falls down a mountainside. Oh, God.
But no, so you take this train to this dungeon, and then you can't move that fast, otherwise, like, huh, so what's for sticking together? Nah, wait up. Just, like, making you feel like an asshole.
Hey, buddy, you want to wait up?
Dude, you want me to, like, walk through this dungeon in a snail's pace? And sometimes you can run way ahead. Like that campsite, I ran way ahead there and did the campsite, and they just kind of warped there. I'm like, why does it matter? And before you go into the dungeon, Ignis gives you a choice to take him along or not. And I said yes, and he says, okay, I will go. and then I found out how slow he is, so I immediately like
We're back.
reloaded. I'm like, I wonder what happens if I say no. He's like, too bad I'm coming with you. I'm like, oh god. He just like fumbles
Well,
around, and
you
it's
need him
just
for that boss fight because he has magical blind
he
abilities.
becomes Daredevil. He doesn't become Daredevil to the world
Yeah,
ends.
until much later.
They literally say everything's dark in his vision, so he's good now.
Oh God, yeah. After the yeah.
And
Speaking
he
of,
gets like,
I mean,
anyways,
keep
that's
going.
skipping
We
ahead, but
should get to that part because that part's weird too.
so you fight the Marlboro down there, which is a
Yeah.
pretty cool boss fight. It was a pretty cool dungeon overall.
It was.
Just like like it reminded me of the life tree that they had in 9.
Oh
Like
yeah.
how
I can totally see
kind of
that.
that boss was kind of infused with like a building kind of, and there's a machine, and it
Yeah.
was a really
Like-
cool dungeon.
Oh, I said this in the first review, and it kind of like strengthened this. That this is a tribute to like previous Final Fantasies. There's so many like homages to past games.
Little nods and everything,
Yeah.
and a lot of cool design choices.
Yeah, really. I mean, for everything that happens later on that makes you scratch your head or go, "What the hell, guys?"
The bad story is a tribute to 8.
Oh man,
I'll give that point to you.
oh man, yeah. It feels like the second half of the game is just like Xenogears, where there's no dialogue dumps, but it just feels like everything gets cut short like drastically.
No, there's no dialogue, whatever's, but there is like time passes, which they kind of did in a couple other chapters,
Yeah.
but which they didn't need. It's like I can kind of figure out that some time has passed, guys. You know how the black screen that says, and so forth.
What about those huge title cards? Like, the chosen king must
Yeah,
fight.
there was like chapters within chapters. I think there's like parts, and then there's chapters.
Oh, it makes sense. I only saw screens like that maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, as opposed to the chapters.
Basically what we're getting into is they kind of just like warp you around to these little vignettes. You do this dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end, English is finally like, "You guys should stop fighting," and then I guess they stop fighting. Or whatever.
If I can't help you blind, then I won't help you at all. So stop bickering.
I guess he's still
Friendship
like
is
pulling around,
magic,
like,
guys.
better become my crutch. It's just weird. And then he somehow gets this weird ability. But he's still Libera
Elementi?
Element. Yeah, something like that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, because he knows the weakness of whatever guy you're fighting.
And it doesn't really matter so much because you can just throw whatever at some people and they just it works because it's so destructive.
Yeah.
But anyway, after this, there's some time that passes and you're on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And did he see Arden in that first train part?
Yeah.
Or okay, yeah.
Yep, you
So
have to chase
we
him.
didn't say before, and Arden appears, but he's like a weird ghost thingy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Have you seen Arden?" Like, no, he wasn't here. And then it's like, okay. Then you go to the dungeon.
Well, according to the in between chapter dialogue things, the load screens, it says that he used a slip in time to like aggravate you.
No, that's what they talk about when he did the Prompto thing. He used the stitch in time to like switch phases with like Prompto,
Yeah.
so you're not. Okay, so this next chapter is you're on this train, you see Arden, and then you see basically you're trying to stop at the station, and then these knights blockade you, and then you have this awesome, which I would say an homage to like the train sequence in 7.
Yeah.
You fight along the train, and you warp to all these ships, and it's really really cool. It's a great set
That's
piece
the
design.
only glitch I've had in my game. Is I was in the middle of destroying the airships and my game froze.
And it deletes your save.
Guess what?
You will be silenced. There is no problems with Final Fantasy 15.
There's nothing wrong with this game.
So, I mean, I guess at that point I was like, okay, so there's not going to be an open world for a while. The cool El Ticio, that was a cool vignette.
Yeah.
All the dungeon was a cool vignette. The boss battle aboard the train was a cool thing.
Uh-huh.
And at the end, Arden appears and he takes the place of Prompto. And you basically push Prompto off the train.
Yeah.
Which was really like, oh, he did.
Like,
Yeah,
Right.
He's dead now. He got pushed off a
right
train
when
in
he
like
fell
the middle
off
of
the
the
train, I was like,
mountains.
oh man, this guy just can't win.
So Gladius somehow is not as pissed at you for
Yeah.
that.
So maybe secretly he didn't want Prompto with all altogether.
That guy is too gay for us.
He's always taking pictures. He doesn't know how to fight.
There's only enough room for one sweaty man. So, and then, basically they're like, oh, we need to get Prompto back. And
yeah, it just
finally
completely
make it to
switches
the Empire.
focus.
And then you make it to the Empire. And that's also a cool set piece. You see, like, the burning building in the background, and Ariana is, like, a part of this
the
force
resistance
that is, like, saving people.
and Biggs and Wedge.
And, holy crap, I got so excited because I didn't expect them to be in there.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. They were Nazis. Their uniforms were Nazi forms, which is really cool. That they were in there and they have this weird, like, accents. Like, no one else has
no one else has
right?
crazy British accents.
Where the hell are they from? Not even, like, anyone in the...
Oh, well, that's a really, like, good 6 reference, because in 6 they were 2 of the Magitech soldiers.
I hated that they called the soldiers the Magitech armor. I'm like, that's not magic. You're using the name, but they're not cool little robots.
Well, yeah, I always think of them from 6 where they're just freaking massive and you ride them like a motorcycle. But they're slower.
You can use them in World of Final Fantasy.
They're slower than hell, though.
That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so that was a cool thing. You just basically go to this place to buy some potions.
Yeah,
and then meet your old retainer and Luna.
Oh, yeah.
She tells him that Raven
was always planning to give him back his dad's sword.
Okay, first of all,
what?
There's where things really start to get like
plan within a plan.
So every single time an Empire person came up to Noctis, they didn't do anything to him. He was at the base, he pulled the sword on them, he's like, I got whatever to do. And then nothing happened. Arden didn't do anything. Ariana was like actually a mercenary, so she just fought and was just like, I had fun.
And you had the duel with Ravenous before this. Ravis.
Yeah. And isn't it just Raven or is it Ravenous?
I think it's Ravis.
Some of these names are stupid. Anyway, he was in the movie. He Lord of the Ring. He tried to freaking
He tried to Boromir.
He tried to Boromir the ring. He puts it on. I thought he dies, but apparently he doesn't. He just gets his arm like destroyed. Apparently.
Oh
and
he
has
a Magitech arm.
I'm just whatever now. I guess I'm just gonna give this ring to Noctis because I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't understand. I just don't understand what his whole thing was. Also, remember that there's only one cutscene with the Emperor in this entire movie. This entire movie, there's only one cutscene with the Emperor that was a huge focus in Kingsglaive, and there's like in the throne room. It's like. Chapter 3 or 4 when you get to see everybody in the room. Where the hell was that old dude? What was he doing? Well, you know what I'm talking about? The guy that looks like Sid, kind of?
You can postulate that Arden probably did away with everybody slowly.
Yeah, but he was just like... There was nothing but...
I agree
so
with
many,
you.
like, leaps in logic. So many leaps in logic, and it's just weird.
You're left to assume a lot of stuff.
Assume a lot. But basically, at this point, you're like, okay, we're gonna go storm the castle.
Yeah, we're gonna save my buddy.
The regalia there. It dies. It's like there's no point in going back.
I was kind of sad when the car got trashed.
Me too, especially when they had that cutscene with his father.
Like,
I'm like,
man,
oh, that's cool. That was a cool.
It's the last thing of his dad's.
Except the ring and his sword and everyone, and this is Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
And his chained up body at the end.
Oh, frick.
So, this is, without a doubt,
at that point,
the worst video game I have played this year at this point. This part is the worst thing in the game.
Yeah.
The worst section of any video game I played this year. I say it with hyperbole because there's much worse games, but...
Zigguratus or whatever. That stupid fortress.
Yes. So basically, you get separated from your friends.
Yeah.
Arden takes away your ability to hold a sword. You can't pick up a gun or hold a sword. You can only have magic swords.
Oh,
how
actually,
is that?
You know what? You know the second dream, like the dream prophecy that Noctis has? The first
The
one, the
Omen
first
thing?
one's the Titan. The second one has him like on a bridge with guns and swords, and his clothes are getting ripped and all this.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be that. It's gonna be that dream sequence. You just against a whole bunch of Magitech guys." Nope.
That also had nothing to do with him because he didn't kill Luna. Did you watch that trailer? It was actually a trailer they actually just put in the game.
Really? Oh.
It was like a CG trailer they made.
Oh.
It's called the Omen trailer, and it's a whole thing, and it's you kind of going after Luna, and at the end you turn into like a weird demon, and you kill Luna, and then he wakes up, and it's just like, that has nothing to do with the game at all.
Oh.
He doesn't kill Luna, he doesn't become like a weird thing.
No.
I don't know what they put... okay.
That whole
right.
dream made me think things were gonna happen later that didn't, because the first one was so like story, like it had a point. You had a dream about the Titan, then you met the Titan.
It's
But yeah, Arden takes Noctis's ability to hold stuff.
what? I can't hold things in my
But
hand.
I have this ring that weighs 1,000,000 pounds.
I also can't throw grenades anymore.
Right? You have so many like. By the time I got the other two back,
I have them in my arsenal.
by the time I got the other two back, I had too much friggin' element stuff stored up. And I was like, man, I could have used this earlier.
But we're kind of getting away from the point because you do kind of get a cool weapon in the meantime.
Yeah.
He finally
The ring of the Luci.
he has the ring. He got the ring from Luna. That's what she was keeping for him.
Yeah.
And he puts the ring on. It's a huge burden. It is the one ring. It's like all the dead ghost kings in there, and you can use a death spell, which takes a while.
Freaking
But it's
death was
kind of
crazy. You just
cool to see. You can do dodge, and when you dodge, you do holy damage, which is cool,
Yeah.
but it doesn't do enough damage
No.
where you're fighting these soldiers.
you end up
And
standing
it
there
takes
for a long time.
ass time. And then you can use basically kind of a gravity
Ultima?
void magic,
I thought it was kind of like Ultima because it's light.
I suppose. But it's cool, pretty cool spells, I guess. But also they take a long time, and you're basically really just outnumbered.
Every
And
fight.
I don't know if you thought about this because I don't think you played a lot of these, but they basically this is Resident Evil straight
That's
up.
what
It is.
I was thinking
it's
that.
a-
Because some of the dungeons, all you have is your flashlight.
Yeah.
And, I considered that. It was very Resident Evil-ish.
If they had key cards, they had stations to put the key cards in to make other
they
key
did.
cards. It is so weird. You move so slowly. The battles are so sluggish. There are jump scares. There's actually one thing that I jumped at, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" The chapter is so long.
It is.
It's so long compared to everything else, which I think is actually just
you're-
because of how long it takes for to get through everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to hide a little too late, and one of the MTs grabbed me and yanked me out of the hole.
Hiding never works. You have to fight everything. I don't know what the point of those things
Oh,
were.
I actually made it through one way, and then when I had to go back through, I had to fight everything. I was so proud of
It's-
myself the first time.
This is not hyperbole. This is like really this. I really
Did you
soured
accidentally
on the game
knock
at this
the
point.
weapon out of the Magitech guy attacking you?
Did he stop doing damage to
Yeah.
you?
I had to wait until I could do that Ultima attack to finish him.
Oh my god, I am so glad that this happened to you. I thought it was a glitch. I think it is a glitch. So what he's talking about is these Magitech
You
guys
usually have
come
a
out of
big
nowhere.
axe.
Big axe. And you have to lock onto them and just dodge them. And every single time they swing at you, you do damage to them. Eventually, one guy, he lost his axe right away, and he can't do damage to you by punching you. And you can't
And he
do damage
becomes
to him
like
either.
he becomes like a stick person too.
Yeah, if you try to use your death magic, he becomes super thin. Which I tried on a bunch of other things. That's actually what happens to death. Like they just become like skinny things, and they become like null and void.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to happen, but death doesn't kill him. So I basically had to reload the game, and I think I only lost like maybe
I got
5
I got it
minutes.
to work. Like I eventually killed the thing, and it happened more than once with me. It happened, I don't know. I want to say like 5 times in that dungeon. And luckily enough, one of the times it happened, I was in the hangar, and I just went and found someone else to fight. Because then when they both attack, you could kill both of them with holy.
It is a broken dungeon. And also, to go back to the Resident Evil thing, you have to fight Raven, whatever,
Yeah.
Luna's brother, and he is totally like nemesis out. Basically, finding that Arden
Has been
at this point
genetically tweaking people.
to become demons.
Yeah.
And essentially, he used to be an oracle to heal people, but then he tried to become king.
Yeah, and he didn't get the blessing from the crystal. Instead, the crystal cursed him. So he just
cursed him to be immortal. I don't know why, because he was healing people. I don't know why the crystal cursed him. And I also don't know what his point, why he wants. I don't understand what his thing is.
Why he's so angry?
Because the point is for them to go to the Empire to get the crystal back to make light appear again.
He's egging you on that whole dungeon, and then you finally get to him, and then there's that whole sequence where Noctis starts to awaken the crystal, and then the crystal becomes a big quicksand pit, starts sucking him in.
Yeah, also, could you barely hear him? Because I don't have subtitles on. I hate subtitles.
Oh.
Also because I like taking screenshots and stuff, which is what you're seeing right now.
I had subs on the whole time.
He was so quiet because the music was so goddamn loud. I'm like, he's saying stuff.
Oh.
Did he just say that he was a Lucius?
Yes, he did.
Like, what the... And I was like, what? So he's part of the royal family, and he was whatever, and then he just goes into the crystal, and you wake up 10 years later.
Yeah. Frick, it's like 6. Because, when you fight Kefka the first time, then the world ends. And then you wake up in the world of ruin, which is what this world is called.
Yes, there are a lot of nods to definitely 6 for sure.
I liked older Noctis. I thought he looked better with his hair, not so...
He does look cool. He especially looks pretty cool with, the new pimp outfits, which look like the Type 0 outfits.
Yeah, they do, just black.
Straight up. But, so, you go into the crystal and you talk to this Megazord Bahamut.
Yeah, Bahamut's freaking huge. He's bigger than all the other summons.
Which, okay, they said they killed the 6, so they killed Ifrit, Shiva, and
you're led to...
and Bahamut appear, apparently.
Yeah.
Which I don't
unless they're counting Titan as one of the ones they killed, because he technically died.
Yeah, what does even dying mean? It's
just
they're dying to harness their power, but the only one they harness is Ifrit. Which, actually, we should go back. What the hell is Luna's, maiden? Her name? Gantius?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I forgot, I skipped that in the train when Prompto gets thrown off, or after that.
Prompto.
She is Shiva.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, her handmaiden.
Out of nowhere, she's just yeah, I'm Shiva. I can just freeze things. Also, that big goddess thing outside, that's not really me, or it is. And then when you summon her, there's a bunch of her.
It's a freaking harem. It's a Shiva harem.
Shiva harem, which is more extreme than the lesbian Shiva cycle from 13.
Jeez.
But yeah, that was out of nowhere. And at that point, I thought that he might be Ifrit, because that's what they show in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
They show that fight, which... It's stupid. Why did they show that fight? That's a big spoiler. I mean, you
I thought it was
the entire time. I'm
I thought it was.
Okay,
he was going to be the final boss. That's what I originally thought.
Yeah, I thought that too, or some significant thing. Either way, I knew it was going to go into the future, which is why? I don't understand why they did that. I hate when movies do that. Let's rewind the clock a bit. This is me when I was a little baby boy. Back when I was a little baby boy,
I was playing 15 as Child Noctis for I don't know.
Oh, it's awesome!
12 hours.
The Platinum demo is awesome. That is the Kingdom Hearts I need and want.
No, I mean, what if it was a total Roxas beginning where you play as him for 15 hours and then your teenage... Oh man, this is like Dragon Quest V, kinda.
Shay, that's a great idea!
Let's make 4 more games.
Stop talking like you're saying bad things. No, okay, so you get sucked into the crystal and you wake up in this prison 10 years later, which...
Yeah, the angel guard.
What, does Arden put you there? Or you just fall asleep for 10 years and apparently the world is in ruin?
I think Babama put you there to protect you while you're in some kind of coma?
While you what, get more powerful? Or what? I don't understand.
I want to believe that Noctis became more enlightened, so the power of the Luci was increased.
Also, I didn't mention.
Fan theory.
It's something along those lines. I forgot to say in Altissa, Garantia, Garantula, whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, dude, Umbra? He could, like, time travel in your mind, kind of.
Yeah.
If you need to go back to the past to do stuff, go to a hotel and Umbra will come to you, and you can totally, like, go to the past, bro. She says that exactly. She's just, like, smoking weed, has sunglasses on.
What a weird ability for a dog to have.
Well, they mentioned that she exists in, like, all... It's one of those weird things, like, I exist here and nowhere at the same time.
Well, yeah.
I am everywhere.
I remember after we did the first podcast and you told me, hey, right after this, some weird stuff happens. And then it does happen. I start seeing her in all those freaking snapshots.
that's kind of like a funny nod, like, it's the photobomb thing. That's hilarious. And Carbuncle, did you see Carbuncle, too?
Oh, yeah.
Those are just, like, cute little nods, but yes, it's not like you're time traveling because people have been, you know, it's just like, why would you, can't you just, like, time travel? And I don't think it's really time travel. It's like, she says it exactly, something along the lines of, it's like the past memories, you can't affect something.
Right.
I think she says that. Which is just like, but you are affecting things, you're, like, leveling up and you're doing these quests, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
I don't... Basically, the theory here is, so this was announced in 2006 as Final Fantasy Versus 13 under Tetsuya Nomura, who directed the Kingdom Hearts games. And it was just like, okay, we're gonna have a traditional turn-based Final Fantasy and a side thing, which is gonna be more like Kingdom Hearts. Wouldn't it be cool if there's a Kingdom Hearts spin-off or a Final Fantasy Kingdom? You know what I mean? A Final Fantasy game like Kingdom Hearts, that's cool. Okay, when it got turned into Final Fantasy 15 at like E3 2013, something like that. It was only like 3 years ago when they announced that. And you gotta imagine they've been in development for a little while at that point. But my theory is, which I think they've kind of said or hinted at, and you can just kind of figure it out. This game technically has not been in development for 10 years. You gotta imagine that after looking at a bunch of trailers that for all the old stuff when it was Versus, they scrapped a lot probably.
Yeah.
And my theory is, part of this game is new and the other part is stuff that they scrapped together. And I think they've been in development for like 3-4-ish years on the first half of the game. That is all of them. That's why it's like so polished and everything is very concise, but also missing some stuff like story bits, and they don't have that much because whatever.
Well, and as soon as you start like the train ride, it feels like they took the whole exploring the world aspect out, and I'm going with you in that theory that it feels like it's scrapped together.
We didn't have... Yeah, it's just like, okay, these were in the original idea, but they couldn't... I feel like he just couldn't... Like, when Nomura was doing this, he just couldn't harness... It takes a long time to, like, make a huge world, and to make the world in multiple regions like this, I think would take a lot. So maybe some of the ideas were him, or maybe his ideas were the beginning, and then they tried to mash these things up at the end just to make it done. Either way, like, okay, this game is clearly kind of unfinished by that latter half. And it kind of, like, affects my enjoyment of the game, but I still love it a lot.
Yeah.
It's just, 13 is the only one that is just terrible. And there's some huge leaps in logic, which I guess you can kind of see away, but at the same time, it just kind of ruins some stuff.
A little bit, yeah.
It's just like, this game has been developed for so long, and at the finish, they still couldn't finish it. Because, I mean, at some point, you just gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You just gotta let it go. They've said that there's gonna be a big patch that's gonna, like, fix Chapter 13. It's gonna, put it in some story, which is, like, great for some things, because, I mean, that's what games are nowadays. They have patches and they change the game for the better. No Man's Sky just got, like, a patch that added, like, a bunch of stuff that people thought should be there. And it just kind of sucks for the people that played it originally, that I'm not going to go back and play the entire game again.
Just to go that, to see what they...
I'm probably YouTube, my voice, whatever. I'm probably going to be YouTube some stuff like, oh, that's what they added in or whatever, or read about it. And it's just, I have a bunch of save points all around the game, so there's a possibility that I might be able to jump around. I saved at the beginning of Altissia, so I could probably go through that very fast.
Oh, speaking of, after beating the game, I I loaded my last save file, and it starts in the rest area right before the final fight.
Yeah.
And right in my head, I'm like, oh no, I should have made a second save. So I start running around fighting stuff. I'm like, oh man, I don't even know. Am I stuck? And then I go to a different lodging area because you're trapped you're trapped in insomnia after you go there. And I hadn't checked for the Umbra thing. I just saw rest, cancel, blah blah blah, and I just looked over it. Didn't really pay attention. Well, it's there. I just I scared myself.
I thought that for a second too, but I saw something. Oh, you're only equipped with your father's blade. And I'm like, oh, it did save. Okay, good. And then you go back to the world and there's some new quests and whatever.
Yeah,
And
like the adamant
yeah.
toys.
Oh, you can get that the first time you go back. I did that when I was in Chapter 13 in the prison because I needed more items.
Yeah.
So I went back to get more money and stuff. And then you got that quest, which you can't even do until you basically do everything in the game and like level yourself up to the max, because that's like a level 99 quest.
I tried to take on adamant toys. It's not a smart move. Not told you're fully ready.
That would be an awesome fight if you could like pilot Titan.
Yeah.
And just punch it.
Oh,
just be
man.
a weird.
Speaking of, like, I was so happy with that effort fight that you finally got to summon everything else.
Two things or whatever, but yeah, you summon the Harem of Shiva at the end, and then you get the Bahamut thing, and that was like a really cool fight. The fight with Arden at the end, which, okay, my last point for what I was saying with the cut stuff is, basically, they're like, okay, we need to implement this mechanic to let you go back. So I guess we're going to make this dog let you go back to the main world, because otherwise you can't do post-game stuff, and you're dead, so I guess we gotta make this weird clunky thing that I guess makes sense to people, but people are still gonna question it, but whatever! Let's do that. So yeah, the final part, you go to the ruined city, and you're all badass in your armor and stuff, and everyone's like aged a little bit after you get back to the party. Yeah. Which, you've been gone for 10 years, and people survived on like generators, and somehow like spotlights make monsters go away, even though the world is filled with monsters. Right. That, I guess, suspension of disbelief. But what the hell is Arden doing? He wants to bring the world to ruin, and he does, but he just lets people whatever. He can just like destroy the planet. Like, he's just like waiting for Noctis to basically kill him, and yet he doesn't want to die, and he's surprised when he actually is killed.
So this is how you finish it.
I don't understand what his goal is.
Yeah.
At all.
I think they wanted a memorable villain, and all the memorable villains in FF tend to be a little cracked.
Yeah, I think like the beginning is like, who's this mysterious guy, and then they kind of they lose the writing in the second part of the game. Yeah. Like I said, like a lot of suspension of disbelief, a lot of like fast forwarding. Like, yeah, okay, well, I guess he took over the Empire and everyone's dead, and I guess they're not that much of whatever. Oh, by the way, you fight the Emperor as like a demon, and it's just a lot of just weird things mashed together real fast.
Prompto's got a chip in his hand that lets him open all
the doors. Oh my god, Prompto looks so rapey with his like goatee thing happening.
I thought he looked pretty badass with that scar across the bridge of his nose after you release him.
But his blonde hair, I don't know, he looks a little rapey to me. Michael Jackson looks pretty cool, aka Ignis, with his glasses. Oh. But yeah, they totally look, I could fight in the dark, and they allude to basically people being awesome, like not Ignis. Iris is apparently like
the demon
a badass, which, yeah, I'm like, yes, awesome. Also, did you go back to her and did you give her like flowers in a small cutscene?
No.
Oh my god. So when I went back from the prison, you go back to the house, because that was the last place I rested at, was the house.
I didn't do that. Shit.
You talk to her?
Yeah.
It is a super awkward scene, like, is freaking Noct moving on so fast? Because what you do is, you talk to her, then this cutscene happens where Gladio's just like, give it to her. He gives her this bouquet of pink flowers, and she's super happy, and then that's it. I'm just like, why did he give those flowers? Where do those flowers come from? Is he marrying her? what the hell? I just came back from this weird dream state and this is happening. I just don't understand
Oh, man.
where that came from.
No.
And I felt so bad for like Luna, like, wow, dude, what?
Physical needs, man.
Yeah, and like, I feel bad for her too because I don't think she had a good part in the movie. I liked her in the game for the brief things that we saw of her,
Yeah.
but then she gets sacrificed really fast for kind of almost unknown reasons. Where was she hiding? There was parts of the game where she was like super close to them, but didn't go
Yeah.
to them. Like when she's on the road and she gets the book, and
Yeah.
I just don't understand what was happening with some of these points of the game, and just very sad.
Maybe.
Also, so you fight Arden, and then you sacrifice yourself to kill him
Yeah.
with the power of everybody, and then you die and your friends die, and then during the cutscenes you get to see all your photographs, which is a nice touch.
Yeah, it makes
and
a
you
point.
knew that was going to happen. You knew that the cutscene, or like the end credits were going to have your photos. That was whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's that campfire cutscene where at first I thought it was purgatory, where they all meet again, and they're like, "Oh, I want to tell you guys that you guys are great." But it was actually just the camp that they had just before they went to the final boss battle.
Yeah.
But it was just like a weird thing to have, and I just felt like, yeah, you liked your friends a lot, but what about Luna? What about your father? What about everyone else? It just felt
But
like,
then there was the second cutscene.
which was also like a very, very sad dream, where in another,
Yeah.
in their dream, they get married and he becomes a king, and he looks good in that too, without his weird face seal hell.
Yeah.
And it's so, and then it cuts to a new logo where it's like, see, this is what the thing meant all along. Luna is dead from the Leviathan thing. They show you that. Big spoiler there. And then Noctis is also there too, and you can't record any title sequence anymore. They block that. It's just like,
Oh, really? Well, I suppose.
why? It just really, really, really weird end. This game is all about them being the Spanner brothers, and then it's just like, oh, we're just gonna kill everybody. We're just gonna make it like super sad and
It's
just
the
like,
real Band of Brother.
why did you just like? I don't know. I just did not like the ending, and not just so much as like the sacrifice, because whatever. But it just felt just unfinished, and I felt unsatisfied just by how they rushed everything. I just have so many questions about like how
It
things
felt
went
really
along.
ambiguous. Like, it feels like it was only half finished, and you're only getting like little snippets. And I'm sure this is just to allude to, oh, you want to know what really happens? Buy the DLCs. They're coming out.
It's kind of like, well, that DLC is going to be like, it's going to be where Gladio disappears, and he's like, I got these scars now, but we're not going to talk about it. Where Aegis is just like, I had a really rough time with Leviathan, and boy did I lose my eyes. And then Prompto's going to be like, oh, hey guys, I fell off the train, and I'm a robot. That's going to be DLC. That's the 3 DLC.
Yeah.
And there's not gonna be any post game content because everyone's dead, unless they're not dead, and that was a weird dream because of insomnia and all this other dumb.
Because when the ring was destroyed, it let them go back in time, and they fixed things.
With Umbra.
Umbra, riding the dog.
What's the other dog's name? They say it in the anime.
Ardile. I'm sure their names mean light and dark.
Argyle. It's a sweater.
Because Umbra is like French for dark.
I'm trying to think of
Or Italian.
Umbreon. That's the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Epion. Maybe the dog's name is EpiBed.
No,
yeah,
I'm sure it's light.
It's. I love the game so much, and I'm just like struggling so much because I'm in the process of writing a review. Because I just for myself, I just need to have a review out there in a concise form of my like words written. And I'm just like going back and forth with like the score because like part of me, that first part of the game is like a solid, like for sure, like a 10 out of 10, hands down, just like game of the year. The second half is just like, what? It just ruins a lot of the game.
It's like watching a beautiful procession, and then the bride trips and rolls down a hill, hits like 14
and
rocks.
then dies, and then everyone else dies at the party.
They all fall down hills and die.
Someone I can't remember, I was listening to a podcast or something, or I read something, or maybe this is in my head, But for such a happy game, like literally, it just takes this weird like dark turn. Like, why?
Yeah.
I just have so many issues of just like unclear things. And of course, they're gonna do some patches and whatever, and add some
It all
DLC.
started
But
with
that's
Ignis
just
going blind.
you know that they're gonna have a sequel, but it's gotta not be.
It's
I guess they could just be Iris. I mean, that would be cool. I
yeah,
mean, Final Fantasy 13 too. That was about Lightning's sister
yeah.
being a badass
Oh
with
man, what if it
Jesus.
was? What if it's Iris and Talkid fighting
Man,
demons?
fuck, man, fuck Telkit.
You don't know what he's got a scar too, a little scar above his eye.
I like when you're in the car and he has like the little cactuars. That was kind of cute.
Yeah.
But then later I got more. I'm like, I can't freaking see them in that cutscene now. Gosh darn it.
I think post game, I'm just gonna go around and start collecting recipes.
Dude, Ariana, by the way, that'd be a cool DLC or
man.
new game.
Yeah.
But she is like a cross between Lightning and
Kane.
Not Kane. I was gonna say Cecil, but yeah, Kane. She's an awesome dragoon. That
Yeah, Sid too from 7, but she's more like Kane from.
oh
4.
yeah, definitely. I said not Sid. I said Cecil.
Oh.
I meant to say
game.
Kane, and yeah, right. Because I mean he's more like a dark thing happening.
Yeah, dragoon.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I guess any like closing thoughts on anything or.
What the f? Square Enix.
I'm glad we can die. I'm glad we can die now, Shay. This game is out, so
Right?
there's like nothing.
Jeez.
Nothing. It's just, it's so good to have this in the past, but at the same time, I'm like, not like this, guys. Not like this.
It just feels like we're missing something. It still feels like we're missing something.
I don't feel like I've beat the game yet because I just,
Right.
just so rushed because I talked to you yesterday and you just basically got to El Tissa and then like really fast like, oh, now I'm in chapter 3. You can beat the game from like chapter 9 to the end.
Yeah,
In like 6, 8
I was
hours,
gonna say
maybe something
4
like that.
hours. That's what I played last night, and I got that far in 4 hours.
Which is it's a linear adventure, so that's whatever. It doesn't make
Yeah.
not that far of a stretch, but yeah, it's just
Like,
we both. I think I can say that we still both love the game, but it's just I have these weird feelings now.
yeah, they're very compounded and conflicting, and they're very complex, like the end of the game. Very
Yeah,
complex. Too many layers, man. Too many layers.
Yeah. Also, how does Arn have the power of Ifrit? Like, I don't understand. Like, he's the one that the goddess like,
Oh.
yeah, sure, I'll like fight for you.
So
I just
I'm
don't.
sure it's because he said Ifrit hates humanity. So Arden's like, yeah, I hate him too, dude. Let's totally bro out.
Yeah, and he's like, in this one, looks the youngest that Ifrit has like ever.
He looks the
looked.
most human I've ever seen him, besides really old Final Fantasies and like for updated graphics.
Yeah, he just looks like a dude with like horns.
Yeah, freaking cool though.
Yeah, all the designs for all of the
summons
6
were
are
freaking
like
amazing.
real cool.
Beautiful stuff.
Leviathan's the most like, yeah, that's Leviathan.
Yeah.
But also cool.
Bahamut's the most different, but every Bahamut's different.
Yeah. What about a game where you're like them?
Oh.
You're a Bahamut. You get to have sex with all of them.
Oh, frick the Shiva harem.
Oh, I should actually look for that after this done. Like Shiva harem hentai game.
No. This could be how we convince somebody to play it.
Dude, there's this part where like a bunch of Shivas take off their clothes and are all like giving you the cold shoulder,
You gotta
giving
do
you
the
blue
button
balls, bro.
responses.
That's just like this kid in high school, like 7th grade. He was like, dude, I just smashed buttons and ate when they're in the spaceship, and they started boning. No, seriously, dude.
Seriously.
I can't believe that's a lie. He said. I don't understand. I guess before the internet, when you can't check things, people just were douchebags. It was like, you can do this. My uncle works at Nintendo. He does.
Totally.
Yeah. This has been great
Yeah.
though. Shay and I needed this closure, these sets of podcasts to really just hash out our beefs and our loves with 15. And I hope we're doing the same for you guys to like hear like, okay, this is what these people think, and I'm not alone. Or
well, especially
it's just
that,
nice.
that freaking glitch in the fortress. How many other people have had to fight Magitech guys that can't do damage?
That whole thing is like a big glitch in the game. It's just bad.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just a really great game with a really weird latter half. And
extremely weird.
I look forward to Final Fantasy 15-2.
The Legend of Iris.
The Legend of Iris. The Fist of Iris.
Oh, the demon slaying fist.
Well, who would be the bad guy? Mecha someone.
Arden?
No. I would be... If it was Arden, oh boy would I be pissed. I'd be so pissed off.
Guess what, guys?
They literally died for nothing. They literally died for nothing. Maybe it's going to be that old dude that I talked about.
Oh, dude. What if it's Noctis?
I would also be pissed, because
like a shadow
in 13-2, 13, or Lightning becomes like not a bad guy, but she becomes like a god, and it's just like a weird, not a bad, it's just weird. There's so many weird things in that. But they have the engines. They definitely are going to be making patches and updates. And
if this, like, I think I said this to you earlier, if 15 was left to originally be part of 13, you think that's where all these gaps are happening? Where you're supposed to be playing as Lightning in her group, and then there's Noctis in his group.
Well, I know, you know how the dumb freaking vocabulary that they use in 13, like the Lucy and the
confusing,
the crystal people, the weird names they have for people to tell them their disease or whatever.
Yeah.
There were some things that they said when it was verse 13 that they said these people are in that regards. And the same thing with Type 0, because Type 0 is part of 13 as well. So they use like the same vocabulary with some things. So they eventually probably cross it off. But yeah, it's probably, like I said, it's
probably one of those leftovers from the idea.
When Tabata took over for Nomura, there's a lot of, things that they delete and fix out of nowhere and just piece together, and just like you can tell it's like a bunch of different visions like just clashing in.
Well, Nomura makes big games. Though
I look forward to Kingdom Hearts to be taken over his dead body, because I don't think he would ever let someone else direct that game. Which means we're never going to get that game
exactly.
Either. So, yeah, well, thank you for joining me again,
very welcome.
Shay. And you know what? We should do another podcast. We'll do a podcast a year from now. And we'll do an update, Final Fantasy 15 a year later.
Yeah.
Because who knows what'll be there. There'll probably be a bunch of patches, and we'll just kind of play it in the
I can't believe I replayed that game for that.
Yeah, one cutscene. Yo, Adrian.
God, I definitely replay it just for the Iris Noctis awkwardness.
Bonin. Yeah.
Tromboning.
With the Shivas. And Ariana and Sydney too. What if it's Final Fantasy X-2 and it's all the girls, Ariana, Cindy, and Iris.
It's just X-2, both.
And she's wearing even less clothes.
Oh man, I don't know how that could work. Not with it still maintaining.
She just like nipple tassels and like a leaf covering her crotch. Look at my pubic hair, y'all.
Y'all.
And then Fat Prompto appears because they get married. He's like, I need to get away from my fat husband.
He's got a robot hand. Beep beep.
Fun. We could do a whole
Choco burgers.
Anyway, yeah, we'll do this a year later, and thanks for joining me, and we'll see you later. Did you know that was a Reaction Examiner video? If you liked it, you should subscribe to me to keep up with everything that I'm doing. Also, if you have some other interests, like sex for example, check out Tomops, which is a comedy sex podcast thing wherein my best friend and I check out the weird and abnormal and the erotic. And of course, you should support me on Patreon because, hey, I want to make the channel better, and I want your help to do so. Plus, if you want to check out my writing, check out Game Jerk, where I have archives and new stuff for all projects, okay? You can find all the stuff and more in the description with the links below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.